We've seen some pretty wild swings in the market lately, but hold on tight because things are about to get seriously bullish. This video is packed with intel on why these two crypto giants might be on the verge of a major price surge. Is this a bull trap or is this the real deal? We'll break down the key factors driving this potential rally. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to watch for and how to position yourself to potentially ride this next crypto wave. So hit that like button, subscribe for more crypto intel, and let's dive into why Bitcoin and Ethereum might be about to erupt. First up, we've got some political fireworks. JD Vance, a potential Trump VP, has slammed SEC's Gary Gensler over the crypto regulation. But what's all the fuss about, and how does it impact Bitcoin? The problem here is the ongoing tug of war between crypto innovators and regulators. Vance claims that Gensler's approach is stifling innovation and harming the crypto industry. It's like having a referee who keeps changing the rules mid-game. Incredibly frustrating, right? Well, James David Vance, the new running mate of Donald Trump, once called SEC's chair Gary Gensler the worst person to be regulating the crypto industry in a recently resurfaced video. Let's play it for you now.
If there's a candidate for worst person, in my view, at least in terms of my substantive disagreements, I'm sure he's like a nice guy, is Gary Gensler. Okay, so Gary Gensler is sort of the complete opposite of my view. And there are two problems that I have with Gary. One of which is that I think he wants to inject politics way too much into the actual business of securities in the United States of America. But in some ways, the more fundamental issue, or at least the most relevant issue for this particular conference is the approach that Gary has taken to regulating blockchain and crypto seems to be almost the exact opposite of what it should be. And I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but the question the SEC seems to ask in regulating crypto is this a token with utility? And if it's a token with utility, then they seem to want to ban it. And if it's a token without utility, they don't seem to care. I almost think we should be the opposite here, right? I worry about financialization. I worry about, frankly, whether a lot of the crypto stuff is fundamentally fake. But if a token actually has utility, that's the sort of thing that, by all means, regulate it. By all means, be careful about, how consumers interact with it. But you don't want to just get rid of this stuff. And here's where I really, really worry about this is a lot of the newest challengers to social media, the social media incumbents of 2024 are going to require some blockchain technology to make their business work. Maybe they'll require a token that supports verification. There are all of these ways in which the companies, when I talk to sort of friends who are still in the VC industry, the companies that are most exciting to them, they're doing actual things in communications in the 21st century, in 2024, I should say, those companies very often rely on high utility tokens to do things like verification. Well, if we're not making it possible to do verification, then we're going to make it really hard to challenge the existing incumbents in the space.
Now, Vance has stood with the crypto industry several times throughout his political career. On May 16th, Vance was among 60 senators who voted in favor of walking back the SEC's controversial SAB 121 accounting guidelines, a set of policy suggestions that prevent the US banks from custodying cryptocurrency assets. Earlier this year, on February 7th, Vance led a handful of other Republican senators in penning a letter to Gensler, raising concerns over an enforcement action against crypto mining firm 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏. And we all remember what happened there, where the judge found that the SEC lawyers used false statements to justify freezing assets linked to the company. In February of 2022, Vance suggested that crypto as a solution to government overreach when Canada's finance minister froze the bank accounts of a convoy of truckers protesting COVID-19 lockdowns. Now, before serving as a Republican senator in the state of Ohio, 39-year-old Vance actually served in the US Marines, studied law at Yale, and later went on to work as a venture capitalist under PayPal's co-founder, Peter. In a 2022 financial disclosure report for the US Senate, Vance reported holding between $100,000 and $250,000 in Bitcoin. The crypto community needs to engage with policymakers to create a balanced regulatory framework. In the meantime, staying informed about Bitcoin news today can help you navigate these turbulent waters. Remember, knowledge is power, and in the crypto world, it can also mean profit. Next up, let's talk about Japan's 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓 making headlines by buying another 22 Bitcoin as BTC nears 65k. This move does have everyone buzzing. The problem, though, is the timing. With Bitcoin price today hovering near 65k, some fear it might be too late to buy Bitcoin without risking significant loss if the price drops. Now, the Bitcoin stacking investment firm 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓 has purchased another 21.88 Bitcoin worth over $1.2 million or 200 million Japanese yen amid the recent Bitcoin rally, driving prices close to 65k. According to its latest July 16th purchase statement, the Japan-based firm's Bitcoin holdings now total 225.6 Bitcoin, valued at $14.6 million. The recent purchase, combined with Bitcoin's 4.4% price rise over the last 24 hours, has fueled a surge in 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓's share prices, up 25.8% to 74 cents in the opening 2.5 hours on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓 took advantage of Bitcoin's price dip earlier this month as well, snapping up another 42.46 Bitcoin on July 7th for $2.5 million or 400 million Japanese yen. The firm's stock price has now soared nearly six-fold since it unveiled its Bitcoin investment strategy on April 9th, 2024. 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓 has been dubbed Asia's MicroStrategy because it follows a very similar playbook to 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗠𝗠𝗘 MicroStrategy in 2020. Similar to MicroStrategy, the largest corporate Bitcoin shareholder, 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓 iterated on May 13th that it will adopt an entire range of capital market instruments to bolster its Bitcoin reserves. 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓 adopted the strategy to hedge against Japanese worsening debt burden and the fast depreciating Japanese yen. The Japanese yen has fallen nearly 54% against the US dollar since January 2021, while Bitcoin is up 145% against the yen in the last 12 months. 𝗕𝗃𝗪𝗓's purchase shows confidence in Bitcoin's long-term potential. For individual investors, it's crucial to do thorough Bitcoin price analysis and consider dollar cost averaging to mitigate against risks. Remember, slow and steady sometimes does win the race, or in this case, hodls the Bitcoin. Now, here's a fun fact. Bitcoin's top 100 dustiest wallets contain over $88 million in BTC. That's right, wallets that haven't moved a single Satoshi in years. These dormant wallets represent a significant portion of Bitcoin's supply. If their owners decide to sell, it could cause a Bitcoin price drop today. The top 100 dustiest Bitcoin addresses hold more than $88 million worth of Bitcoin, accumulating more than 530 BTC since January 2023. Dusty addresses refer to wallets that contain minuscule amounts of Bitcoin. These addresses hold a total of around 1,380 BTC according to the latest data. Interestingly, many of these smallest addresses are relatively new, with 9 of the top 10 having received their first transaction later than March 2023. The newest in the top 100 is only 5 months old. The top wallet among these is an address that is controlled by the 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗑 crypto exchange. It holds 12.46 BTC, worth approximately $790,000 at the current rates. This address has transacted more than 1.59 million transactions, representing 0.77% of all Bitcoin transactions. 78 of the addresses belong to the F2 pool, a Bitcoin mining pool. The largest among them holds 2.47 Bitcoin worth $170,000. The rest are believed to belong to a mix of retail and institutional investors, and it's almost impossible to differentiate between the two. You should monitor these wallets and stay updated with the Bitcoin news today. While these wallets can pose a risk, they can also show a strong belief in Bitcoin's long-term value. It's like finding money in your old jeans pocket. Exciting, but it could lead to a bit of a spending spree. Next up, Coinbase is refining its subpoena request for the SEC chair Gary Gensler's private chats. This is getting juicy. The problem here, of course, is the lack of transparency and potentially the regulatory overreach. Coinbase is pushing back, and rightfully so, seeking clarity and fairness. It's like a detective novel where everyone's just trying to uncover the hidden twist or hidden plot. Crypto exchange Coinbase has shifted tactics amid its recent effort to subpoena the United States Securities and Exchange Commission chair Gary Gensler, and is now seeking his private communications only while serving as chair. Coinbase's lawyer initially argued that access to Gensler's private chats, both before and during his tenure as SEC chair, was an appropriate source of discovery to mount their defense in the SEC's lawsuit against them. But a July 15th filing states Coinbase is now going to seek access to Gensler's communication during his time as the SEC chair after the judge showed reluctance to accept Coinbase's request last week, stating, with respect to the subpoena of Mr. Gensler, Coinbase has determined to seek the production of Mr. Gensler's documents only for his period as his tenure as chair of the SEC. Gensler became the SEC chair in April of 2021, but Coinbase initially wanted access to Gensler's communication from 2017, a year before he started teaching a blockchain and money course at MIT in 2018. And well, why wouldn't you? Coinbase argued access to Gensler's private chats was crucial to understand how his views on crypto-related regulatory matters have changed over time. Wink, wink. Coinbase's opening brief for its motion to compel is due on July 23rd, while the SEC will have until August 5th to file a response. By challenging the SEC, Coinbase is fighting for fair regulations that benefit the entire crypto industry. For investors, staying informed and supporting platforms that advocate for transparency can make a huge difference. After all, who doesn't love a good underdog story? Finally, let's switch gears to Ethereum. The SEC has reportedly given preliminary approval to 3 spot Ethereum ETF issuers. Could Ether outperform Bitcoin with these new ETFs? Bitcoin and Ethereum often move in tandem, but this new development could shake things up a bit. If Ethereum ETFs gain traction, we might see a shift in market dynamics. Ether could outperform Bitcoin following the launch of the highly anticipated Ethereum Exchange Traded Funds ETFs in the United States. A report highlighted the Ether to Bitcoin price ratio, a metric that measures the amount of BTC required to purchase 1 ETH. The higher this metric climbs, the higher the price of Ether relative to Bitcoin and vice versa. Currently, the ratio is at 0.05 compared to 0.045 recorded before the SEC approved the spot Ether ETFs. Ether's 1% market depth was also cited in the report as a potential catalyst for an upcoming ETH bull run. Market depth measures the amount of liquidity in a market. Lower liquidity in an asset translates into higher volatility, while higher liquidity stabilizes market prices in the face of large orders. This low market depth is supported by the Ethereum Exchange Reserve, a metric tracking the amount of Ether available for purchase on exchanges, which is at a multi-year low and could signal an incoming supply shock driven by institutional demand to fill their Ethereum ETFs, potentially sending prices significantly higher. Diversify your portfolio. While Bitcoin remains the king, Ethereum's potential with these new ETFs could lead to significant gains. Keeping an eye on both Bitcoin and Ethereum analysis will help you make informed investment decisions. It's like having 2 horses in the race. Why not bet on them both? Now, let's hear from you. Drop your questions and comments down below. What do you think about the latest regulatory drama? How do you feel about Metaplanet's Bitcoin purchase? And what's your Bitcoin price prediction for the end of the year? And guys, why don't you click here to check out my latest Bitcoin technical analysis video where I share my medium to long-term price predictions for BTC. You don't want to miss this.